Hey guys, welcome back to the JPM Performance channel. It is of course time for a shop tour. Here we are, October 24th. So you can see on the calendar here we've got a bunch of Halloween stuff. So this weekend is our annual Shacktown Halloween party. If you don't know what that is, I'm about to tell you. So every year we have this big party, big monstrous Halloween party. Shacktown is a little place that a buddy of mine built out in the woods behind the shop here in the back 5-6 acres, and he built a little town that we call Shacktown. And everybody's invited. If you have a crazy whim to come to Topeka this weekend, be here Saturday night at 7 o'clock. I guarantee you once you come to one, you'll never miss another one. Everybody's invited. Okay. It's hot in Topeka this week. It's just up and down, so kind of sweating a little bit today. I'm working on cars and sweating a little bit. So, but it's going to drop out. We're almost to November here in a couple weeks. Less than 2 weeks is daylight savings, and once that happens, it's over. All but the crying. Okay, shop tour time. So, got the modified MCO EGMT completed. You can see this one is the Miata. You guys have seen this apart in the last couple of weeks. It's all together, just waiting on a couple of drop gears, and then this is going to be ready to ship out to the new owner. All ready to go, so we are looking good there. Next thing up is the Quaife gear set into the Miata stock tranny to replace this transmission for the guy that had this. So, okay, we got a bunch of cars in the shop. We'll talk about each one of them and where I'm at in phases. So Steven's car is up in the air. You can see the engine is already out, completely apart, diagnosed. All the bits and pieces are ordered, waiting on the new shocks to come in, which should be here this week, I think, or any day. Excited to show you guys that when they come in. But yeah, waiting on some engine bits and pieces, and then we'll be able to really push forward on his project. So a little bit of limbo for right now. Ken's car is back together. So post runoffs, we had to pull a lot of things apart. They want to see the cylinder head. You guys saw all that last week. So everything is back together, running, intake, transmission, everything's hooked up, oil change. He's going to be the first guy to go racing, so I really wanted to push and make sure that everything was under control for Ken for January. The only thing I'm waiting on is some brake pads from Carbotech and an air filter. So over the years, your air filter starts to kind of look like this. You know, best thing to do is pitch it. So that's what we're doing with that. We're going to put on a nice new air filter, get that right in here. Kind of trimming up a couple pieces, actually looking really good here, looking really good. So a little bit of nose work that John will do on the wrap that I will, once I get the nose back on. Looking really good here, looking really good. Excited for Ken to have a good season in 2025, that's my goal. So a couple new cars in the shop this week. So this is one you guys haven't seen in the shop. So this is Cameron Walgren's E-Production BMW 328. This is an engine that I built for him a couple of years ago. Gosh, it's probably been more than that. He took a couple of years off. It's probably been, it could be 4 years maybe, since I built this engine. But we got it going, we got it in the car, and we had ourselves some calibration issues with the water temp sensor. In combination with him racing out in Colorado, the engine got overheated pretty badly. So it kind of looks like we've got ourselves a blown head gasket. So I am going to pull the cylinder head off in the car. Very similar to the Z3. So, you know, when I was racing the Z3, I pulled the cylinder head off at the runoffs a bunch of times. And if you've been watching my videos, you know that I figured out a way to hold the solid lifters in place with my long magnet strip. So I'm going to be getting into this. We've kind of confirmed we're compressing the cooling system. When you're compressing the cooling system, there's pretty much only one thing if it's not something that's cracked. And these cylinder heads and these blocks are really rock stars. But I'm going to pull the head off, see if we can figure out what's going on there. So that's basically all that this is here for. So I've got a head gasket on order from Cometic, which should be here any day. It's not taking that long to get them anymore. And then we'll get into this project. You can see it's just jacked up, kind of ready for me to get started on it. So that's where we're at here. Over here is Bill Miller's BMW E-Production BMW 328. It's very similar to Cameron's. Obviously our third place car at the Runoffs just a couple weeks ago. So we're going to do some upgrades. So we got ourselves a little differential issue with the stub popping out. That's kind of what cost him a little bit in the Runoffs race. I need to get the differential apart and see what's going on with the stub axle and why it's popping out and get that rebuilt. But another thing that happened was, and it's easy to do in tech because, you know, they wanted to see the intake manifold off. And on these BMWs, there is a valley. It's really hard to see, but there's a valley between the intake manifold and the cylinder head. And what I do normally is I get out compressed air and I blow all the dirt and stuff out of there before I pull the intake manifold off. But when you're at the Runoffs, kind of a tough thing to do, and Bill's pretty sure that a rock got down into the motor. So I'm going to pull the intake manifold, pull the plugs out, do some really good inspection with the borescope, see if we can find a rock, see what we can find in general, turn it over and kind of get that remedied along with the differential. We're also going to work on some frame reinforcement. These cars are very well known for the front rear trailing arm where it hooks up to the frame. They crack and they break and they can actually tear completely off of the chassis. Going to get into that, see if we can get that figured out and straightened up. But all in all, I'm super excited. What Bill really needs here is some seat time. So we're going to get this car straightened up. I'm going to get it back to him so he can get ready for next season. And then, of course, Steve Wiles is already on me about getting the GT1 Camaro into this spot. So I'm going to jump on this pretty quickly. When I've got all these cars like this going on, what I like to do is get into some of the projects in case there's bits and pieces that I need to order. And that way, while I'm waiting on pieces, I can go to the next car and kind of round robin it and work on all of that. So that's kind of where we're at with Bill's car here, looking pretty good. Really nice to have, you know, good room around all the cars to work. I preach it all the time, organization, right? So when you have some room, you can stay organized, and it really helps a lot. Mazda 2, you can see I have the door off. I think I'm going to do some beating and banging on this. So I think I'm going to pull the wrap off. I think I'm going to do some beating and banging on this and see if I can straighten it out. Might do a little bit of Bondo work or something, you know. These doors are expensive, and I can't find one local unless I find one in a parking lot somewhere, maybe swipe it. But I think I'm going to do a little work on this. We'll see how that goes. I'm not 100% convinced I can fix this door, but we'll see. I did order a new rocker from Mazda, and it came in, and as you can see, this is not a rocker. This is the inner unibody frame piece that goes right in here. So they were close. It's the inner piece, but what I need is this outer piece here. So that's going to have to go back, unfortunately. But, you know, this is why you don't let your car sit after the Runoffs. You get back to it. You start chipping away. Everybody's got a list of things you need to get done, right? So keep chipping away at it. I'll get this sent back to them. In the meantime, going to get some suspension apart, work on the door. Yeah, it's probably about all I'm going to tell you about what I've got going on with the Mazda 2 right now. So, as you can see, super busy. I've got some differentials I have to get after, a couple of transmissions, 2 transmissions, 5 differentials, 1, 2, 3, 4 cars, and motors. So, yep, got to keep going, keep pushing. It's kind of my favorite time of year because the pressure's kind of off. I get a little bit of breathing time, instead of like, oh, we have a race in 3 weeks that I have to get like 3 cars ready for. So that's kind of nice for a change. But we're looking good, pushing through the fall here. Hope you guys have a great Halloween if you're into that kind of thing. Like I said, we've got our big party this weekend. If you just get a whim and just look up JPM, it's at my address, it's behind the shop. If you don't show up with a costume, my wife will dress you in a costume. I will warn you on that. So keep that in mind if you want to come by. But we've got tons of them. Anyway, we've got a lot of people coming in for the weekend. Steve and Sarah Smizek are coming in. I know Cliff and Megan will be here, the Iras, all sorts of people from all walks of life, and friends and family and all sorts of stuff. Generally, we have between 100 and 150 people, if you can believe that. So it's always a good time. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and keep warm, keep cool, depending on the temperature of wherever it is you live, and keep working on your race car. See you next week. Take care.